Hello and welcome. This is AlchemistExe, and happy half anniversary. Only 6 months to go before TAGA has hit 9 years. Even if this ends up being the final year of the game, I have to say I think that this celebration is very, very solid, and should January 28th roll around for 2025 and that celebration is kind of meh, I will do my best to remember today and try to factor that in to my judgment. So anyway, the footage playing here is the current world raid that has started. It's pretty much the same as the last time that this happened. There's not really much mechanics to engage with. It's just do as much damage as you can. Get some good rune-related rewards if you participate, and even if you don't participate, just you can get a bunch of prizes from the lap completion bonuses. But I think it's pretty fun because it's very, very opt-in, and it's a good opportunity to see how some of your teams come together, especially if you had any boosts in light, like, for example, if you recently got Agatha. So my Agatha is here. She's still a little bit underwhelming in terms of how much investment I have in her, but I'm still enjoying using her nonetheless. And then we can see a new face here, which is Logi. I have mentioned multiple times in the past that he is my choice for the Memento Selector, so regardless, one way or another, I was going to end the day having Logi. That's also not the only thing that happened. Definitely some good things happened for my account. I will do a little bit at the end of the video kind of showing where the dust settled and some noteworthy things. I did, before I talk about the main thing in this video, the main thing being the choices for the selectors, I did want to add a correction. I was operating under the assumption that the free summons that we were going to get were going to have more or less the same cutoff period as the selectors, and that is actually not true. You can get much more recent things for free. So if you are factoring that into how you are spending your gems, then definitely use up all 850 of the tickets they gave, and that might end up giving you something that you might have wanted to pull for spending gems. As far as I know, it looks like it just goes all the way up until right before now, meaning I'm fairly certain you can't get the brand new Ouroboros themed memento for free, but you can get Agatha from it, so there's definitely that. So, yeah, I don't remember if I misread something or if I just assumed it based on the cutoff dates that they did provide for the selectors, but I apologize for that oversight. So, next up, I'm going to showcase what I got from the free summons, and I'll talk about my recommendations for how to use the selectors that they gave us. Alright, so let's jump into this. So first I'm going to talk about the unit selector, and then I'll talk about the memento. I think it disproportionately is going to be more in the unit selector, just because I think I have one clear choice and then a bunch of sub choices for units, and then 2 clear choices for mementos, and then after that it equalizes out pretty fast, or is very context dependent. So let's start with my number 1 recommendation, which you can probably guess is going to be Ein's Link, because I have said it multiple times, and I just think for the highest number of people, the most likely candidate, assuming you don't already have him, is going to be Ein's Link, just because he is such a good unit. It's much like Dios, the beauty in his kit. Finally got that second Chloe memento. It's crazy how long that took, just for a normal pool memento that's been available the entirety of the time I've been playing. Okay, sorry. Back to Ein's. He's very strong. Simplicity, he does damage. He does it well. He can ignore reactions. He can help offset his weakness, which is a lack of verticality, with a teleport and a jump boost. There's also gears that boost jump. I mean, if you had to, I don't know if I've tried it, but I don't see why Rega or another unit with throw wouldn't also be able to throw him, which would be kind of funny because that's a strong little kid picking up a dude and his horse, his weird murder horse. Ooh, Bianca. I feel like I should be using Bianca more than I do. But anyway, I do want to talk about the one significant hurdle, like the one condition, because like picking Ein's here is almost perfect. However, if you don't currently have regular Irons, or if you don't have them raised, that is going to be an obstacle. However, it's not an insurmountable obstacle by any means. So even if you're a relatively new player and you haven't had the time to get the regular Irons, I think for the most part, just getting Link Irons via this selector now is a good idea, and it can just be a long-term project. Secondary Elizabeth Memento. Elizabeth Link is going to be a unit I'm going to be looking to getting in the future. She's available already via the like Memento pickups where you have to do like 20 steps. I'd prefer to get her in a more gem efficient way than that, but going forward, she should be available on selectors, etc., in the way that Logi was recently made available. So that's just something to think about. So that was a pretty decent haul overall as far as getting limited stuff. Like nothing too crazy for what I'm looking for, but I'm already seeing a better distribution of limiteds than some of the other, like when they gave free summons just in their regular gacha system. I have no idea why that is. Maybe I just got better seeds this time around. It's crazy how many copies of that Ryle Memento I have. So getting regular Irons, I would pretty much just rely on random luck, because in instances where agency is going to matter, like a pickup banner or a selector, the chances of having something that's going to be more valuable to your account is going to supersede that. And if you absolutely had to, and you're like, you've literally checked off every other important thing, like all your other dragons, all your other links, all those characters are all good and there's not as much you can do to improve them, then you might want to, and you still haven't pulled regular Irons, at that point you might want to think about getting a selector. But I just wouldn't worry too much, especially because at present I'm still not totally convinced that the game is going to go beyond 9 years. If suddenly evidence shows up that it is going to last longer, then we can go back to talking about more longer term strategies. But even as a poorly invested unit, Ainz is still really, really good. But let's say that you already have him, you already are working on him, that's not a worry. Who would I put in second place? I would put Yomi Link in second place as far as the unit selector goes. She is very strong. She's got a great reactive. She's got some survivability. She can work well with some other Thunder units like Orion as far as being Slash, or you could run her in a Wadatsumi team. So definitely I would put her in the second place. And then after that, at that point, it starts to be just what dragon are you missing? What Sacred Stone links are you missing? It's hard for me to rank them because none of them are super crazy strong, but rather they work well in certain teams. Like Otama and Mono Wind, especially if you have Yggdrasil from Phantom of the Kill, they can work really, really well together. Seda Link with Rima and Nidhogg, for example. So it's not just about them anymore. It's about what teams and what elements you're starting to work on. But generally it'd go like, Ainz and Yomi, and then whatever Sacred Stones link or whatever dragons you're currently missing. Think about it that way. Think about the elements, etc. I finally got Laurium. I don't really know how good she is as a unit, but I do like her design quite a bit, hence the screenshot. Just anybody who's kind of Himiko flavored, if you're familiar with Honkai, I definitely like that. So I'll probably raise her anyway, whether or not it's a wise thing to do. Alright, we're almost halfway done with these summons here. It'll be time to talk about the Memento in just a moment. I'm just trying to think. I did forget to mention the actual choice that I'm going to go with, which is Lil, and some of that's process of elimination. As far as if I generally speaking would want to prioritize getting a new unit, unlocking new mechanics, even though the selector is going to give us 150 shards if you own the unit. Got the Slothstein group Memento. So keeping that in mind, my two options for ones that I don't have yet that I really care about are Lil and Almira Link. So I chose Lil. Just light magic, changing elements, synergy with dragons, etc. So that was where I was going. And so some of you might end up being in that camp too, which is just really what are you missing? What does your account need? So I was missing Lil. My account needs more light magic. And that's that. Okay, so yeah, see, here we go. I got Agatha. It makes it a little sad for how much gems that I spent on her, but for a couple of weeks of just running at Agatha all the time, I guess I'll take it. Now I have another limit break on her memento, another 25 shards, which I need all the shards of her I can get. So, you know, it is what it is. It is nice that they're willing to have that far, like, as far as like what they're giving. I thought for sure it'd be like, you know, at most like a month beyond what the selectors cut off, but I was absolutely wrong about that. So 4 mementos for the selector. If you don't have Logi Link, whose second memento I just got, or Dios Link, those two absolutely are at the top of the list. I mean, you know, if you've even seen, he was in the video earlier. Both of them were in the video earlier, actually. But if you've been following my channel like the past year, you know, Dios has probably been the unit as far as like seeing maps and stuff in my account, he's probably the unit that you've seen the most. So I think that speaks for itself. And then Logi's got a bit of a different role than Dios. He's not all in on damage. He can do pretty good damage in the right circumstances, but his tankiness is also a factor in his kit. So, but in addition to the fact that he is a strong unit in his own right, some of it is just scarcity principle. And that is because, I finally got Nikaya. I got both of her mementos already. Oh, man. So that was kind of weird thinking about Surzik when I see that whale. And that is because for most of the times when you're in a situation where you want to go for a selector type banner, like for like the one that they have currently right now, that's like a pickup banner for mementos, you can get protagonist mementos from them, but if you want to get them with a selector, it costs twice as much. So assuming that you don't have it, then the value, you're basically getting twice as much value as the other mementos that are available from the selector. So I already wanted Logi anyway, so it's not like I needed to be swayed with the value argument, but it is definitely an important thing to note, just because say you're thinking about opportunity cost. Like, I use Zynlink a lot. I find him a very good branded auto unit to use, and I would love to get his memento, but I would rather get his memento from one of those types of banners. Oh, I got Ouroboros' memento. Naturally, I don't have Ouroboros, but that is one less thing to worry about. But when it comes to the opportunity cost, I'd rather get Zyn's memento from one of those pickup banners if I had to choose it via selector than a protagonist link, just because of that value. So after the 2 protagonists that are currently available with the selector, that's where it really starts to equalize. Just because as far as that cutoff goes, most of them have been around for a while. There's been, over 6 months of opportunity to get the things that are on there. So really it's about picking the mementos for the units who you use that are really going to need them. For example, say you use Lindrake and you don't have both of his mementos, he's a very, very good option for that, just because of how potent of a unit he is. Yeah, he might not be the top of the game anymore, but he's still going to help you out all the time. I still use Lindrake all the time, and especially that second memento of his with the Yukata. Very, very helpful. So Link units, Dragon units, anything, especially if you're going for like a secondary memento or something, anything that gives a snowball or a buff duration +1, a skill use +1, those are going to be the best options, assuming that you are already good on both Logi and Dios. Okay, so one more to go, and I'm more or less done talking about the selectors now. So now I want to recap some other things that happened, because I did do some other summons that I didn't end up recording, or I started to record and I was like, I wasn't really feeling it. Mostly I was trying to get to a specific gem spent threshold, which was going to be 12k, just because at the point where I've been gaining new units, I've got things that I want to get on the selector. Finally got Helene. I'm glad. I have 1 out of 2 mementos for her. I like her quite a bit. I think her kit is pretty fun. So I'm glad I ended up having her. And speaking of, so I ended up going about 6 deep into the unit, all 5-star banner. And then I went just enough into the memento ones to hit the 12k, and then got some gems back. I got some more of the coins to buy shards. And lo and behold, I ended up getting Ouroboros from that. So it ended up being fortuitous that I got her memento from these free summons, because that was pretty much an absolute jackpot. Like, I was, I wasn't, I knew it was a possibility, but I figured it was a very, very remote possibility. I also got another 200 shards of Helene and more shards of Lindrake so I can work on his Enlightened Bond. So we are just about at the end of the summons here, but I'm going to go ahead and showcase basically what I got from now that all the dust is settled. Okay, so yeah, basically everybody that is to the left of Agatha is who I've gotten as a result of either banners, free summon selectors, etc. for the 8.5. So yeah, Kudenstein, that was very, very nice. We got both him and his memento. And then Sumeragi, I haven't started yet, but definitely going to be raising him. Lorium, I'm also going to raise, just because she's very cute. Nikaya, not sure yet. Helene, definitely. I also got 200 shards of her today in the same pull, which is also the pull that got me Ouroboros. And I've started on her. She is very, very fun to use. So far, I've only really used her in her damaging role, but I want to try out her supporting class too. And then Logi, I started with too, just because I got just enough to link thanks to the coin shop. And then finally, Lil, who I got with the Selector. So yeah, I hope the celebration treated you well, and I will see you all next time.